All showered and ready to roll. Hello everyone, it is Sunday morning, and I just wanted to tell you that I reached my first goal for the year. That's right, as of this very moment, when I'm shooting this video, I am at 3,150 hits on the YouTube channel. Still only 13 subscribers, but I hope to rectify that very soon. My goal for this year is 20 subscribers at least, and 5,000 hits on this channel. So hopefully I can make that happen, and I'll see what I can do to make that happen in the near future, sooner rather than later. Like I said, I made my ADRs late yesterday, and going to some new places. Actually going to get to finally go to Chico, and finally to the Yachtsman Steakhouse. I have not made reservations for Planet Hollywood, Rainforest Cafe, or T-Rex Cafe, because I usually can get walk-ins on those, or last-minute reservations, so it won't be a problem. I will be returning to the Hollywood Brown Derby and Coral Reef, which are two of my 3 worst meals ever on property. So I'm going to give them another shot, and if they are not to my liking this time around, 86 them from foreverness. Basically, I will never ever step foot in Brown Derby or Coral Reef again if they screw me this time. So that's exactly what's going to happen with that. So there's a lot of things on the plate right now. Still planning out the 8 parks in one day. I need to formulate an actual plan once I learn exactly what snacks I want to have as well, so I can talk to my good buddy Lynn Testa and get everything worked out perfectly so he can write me a touring plan that's going to work to be able to achieve this crazy accomplishment. So, like I said, it is Sunday, and I'm all ready for work, which is weird because I don't work on Sundays. And I think the only reason I am working on Sunday is so I can work next Sunday, which is Easter. So Easter's all their time and a half, and that means I'm going to make like a lot of money, and it's going to be awesome. Because I really need it right now. I just got a message from my credit card today that I need to pay a minimum balance before the 19th of April. So I'm going to do a little bit more than that, actually. When I get paid Friday, I'm going to take a little bit of my check, and I'm going to pay a lot of it. So at least $100 at this rate, depending on how much I make. So, talked about that, and I talked about that, and I talked about that. So basically, no, it's not a checklist that I'm reading here. It's basically just, I said that, and that. So, basically, we're going to get to this, which is AJ's Weekend Movie Reviews, which is going to get really weird soon because we're going to have a lot more than just the Regal movies we're going to be going to see. Basically, he's watching a lot of the movies online and giving them reviews for me down the road. Like, when they actually come out, he's going to give me reviews for them. Like, there is the Shining documentary, which is Room 237, and it is going to be coming out in the near future. We talked about Straight A's and Ginger and Rosa and the ABCs of Death. And these are all things that have came out recently and had at least a day theatrical run. So he gave us the reviews for that, and we're going to be talking about Stoker and Spring Breakers next weekend because we're going to watch that along with G.I. Joe and The Host on Friday. It's going to be a packed day. And then Saturday we're going to watch yet another Tyler Perry movie, Temptation, the Confessions of a Marriage Counselor. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that. But at least there should be no one in there, so it won't be a problem watching it at 7 o'clock. And I get Long John Silver's out of it, so that's a good thing. Now, these are AJ's Weekend Movie Reviews. As usual, I'm going to throw out the disclaimer. These are AJ's opinions, and only AJ's opinions. I may agree, I may disagree, and I will let you know for sure if I agree or disagree with these opinions. I'm going to say before we get started, Olympus Has Fallen was good. I thought it was a little long, though. Kind of dragged a little bit in the middle. That's about it. The Croods is really good. And so far, it's the best animated movie of the year. That's not really saying anything. And Admission is god-awful. Stay away from it. That being said, here's AJ's Weekend Movie Reviews. Olympus Has Fallen. Isn't it great that after 6 years, we finally get a new Die Hard movie in 2013? I've been really wanting another Die Hard movie that goes back to the roots of the early movies where the hero can take on an entire group of terrorists all by himself. No wisecracking sidekick, Zeus Carver notwithstanding. No bringing along his godforsaken kids. Just one man kicking everyone's ass. Of course, I'm not talking about last month's A Good Day to Die Hard. I'm talking about Antoine Fuqua's latest action extravaganza, Olympus Has Fallen. Okay, it's not anywhere as good or as smart as the original, as the early Die Hard movies, but people will definitely get what they want out of this movie. The movie begins when we see that President Benjamin Asher, Aaron Eckhart, has a pretty close relationship with the Secret Service agent Mike Banning, which is Gerard Butler. They spar in the ring, Banning chooses the First Lady's earrings, Banning plays video games with Asher's son. You know, he might as well be part of their family. However, there's an accident on a bridge where Banning is unable to save the First Lady. Hello, Ashley Judd. Goodbye, Ashley Judd. Now, over a year later, Banning has been reassigned. Now, we learned this was because the president can't look at him without thinking back to that night, despite the fact that there were a ton of Secret Service guys there that night, so we never find out what's up with that. Anyways, one day, out of the blue, there is a terrorist attack that takes out pretty much everyone in and around the White House in a pretty massive action scene. The remaining survivors, including the president himself, are either taken hostage and tortured and or killed because the leader of the terrorist group, Rick Yoon, who you probably remember as the villain Johnny Tran in the first Fast and the Furious movie, wants justice for his country, or something like that. So he's going to detonate our giant missiles while they're still in their silos. You know, the trouble is, they weren't counting on one person emerging from the carnage to stop them. Banning, of course. Let me go ahead and get everything out of the way that's wrong with this movie. I'll start with the unfortunate fact that as good as the key attack scene is, it's riddled with subpar special effects. There's a scene where the Washington Monument comes down, which should have been quite the spectacle, but it's a little off-putting when this Washington Monument is clearly an animated effect. Can't they have at least physically destroyed a replica or something? Also, it's not very convincing carnage whenever someone gets shot and it reeks of post-production animated blood. Damn you, Tarantino, for getting me used to the wonderful glory of squibs. How I miss them. There's also the problem of the surprise bad guy. You know, it's one of those surprise bad guys where the first second you see him in the movie, you'll tell yourself, oh, I bet he's not to be trusted. Obviously, being a big budget action movie, cliche characters, comedic lines that aren't actually funny, and all-around dumb dialogue are be to expected. But take the scene where we learn that the lead terrorist is actually the most wanted terrorist in the entire world. You know, despite the fact that everyone from the Speaker of the House to an Army general were face to face with him on a giant monitor not only 20 minutes ago, and everyone said they'd never seen him before in their whole life. I'd also like to point out what the hell happened to the female cast. First, you have Ashley Judd, who, as you know, bites it in the first 5 minutes. We are then introduced with the Secret Service director, played by Angela Bassett, who is built up as this hard-nosed, tough character, only to be pretty much background noise for the rest of the movie. Then there's Rhoda Mitchell. You know, Mitchell has an extremely unimpressive filmography, but she has shown that she does have talent that she can show off. However, the second I saw her, I thought, hey, there's Rhoda Mitchell! I bet she's there to do absolutely nothing. Sure enough, she plays Banning's wife, and there only to stare longingly at the television as the events unfold. And that's it. The most screen time a woman gets is the Secretary of Defense, played by Melissa Leo. But unfortunately, she's very annoying, and I was kind of hoping she'd get offed. There's a long scene where she's beaten, threatened, and tortured for her Cerebus code, and I believe we're supposed to look on in awe about how noble and tough and selfless she is. But sadly, I just wanted them to end her already. Now, after all that, you may be asking yourself, is there anything good about this movie? Of course there is. As I said, even with some bad CGI, the action scenes are undeniably well staged and thrilling. For the type of movie it is, the performances aren't even half bad. Butler is game, Eckhart gives a good emotional performance, and I must say his character handled the situation much better this time than the last time Eckhart played a politician that lost the woman he loved. Wink, wink. And Morgan Freeman, as the Speaker of the House, delivers a dynamite performance. Now, there's also a particularly memorable shot of a burned, battered American flag being thrown over the White House balcony. So yeah, people who want to go see this movie should be pretty pleased with it. Don't expect anything truly spectacular, and just leave your mind open to shrug off the dumb stuff that comes with the territory, and you'll be fine. Just go have fun. The Croods. If there's one thing audiences can seem to count on, it's that the first 1/4 of the year almost always has a great animated movie in it. This year is no exception. The Croods is a visually spectacular, joyously fun ride that will keep you involved while also shutting your kids up, as there is always something going on. When it's not hilarious or consistently frantic, it is stopping to take a breath and let you take in the glorious animation that is total perfection. This story involves the last surviving family of cavemen, who spend most of their time hiding in a cave because their patriarch, Groog, which Nicolas Cage, is paranoid they will die at every turn. This is mostly due to the annoyance of Eve, which is Emma Stone, the oldest child who is ready to get out of the cave and see what's all in the world. She sneaks out one night and she comes across a lone drifter named Guy, with Ryan Reynolds, who has discovered fire, invented shoes, and has a monkey he names Belt because he gets around by wrapping his arms around his waist, keeping his pants up. After an earthquake destroys their cave, Guy tells the family he can take them to a place called Tomorrow. Now, much to the dismay of Groog, they follow, and hilarity ensues. Now, there is plenty to love about this movie, particularly the voice work. Stone is perfect as Eve, and is both funny and charming, while creating a character we can feel for and like rather easily. Cage, hilarious as Grug, especially when he gets the chance to tell his stories, all of which end with some characters spontaneously dying, as well as the running joke where he's always hoping his mother-in-law is dead. I know this sounds bad, but despite its fixation on death, Grug is actually a very lovable character. The only person who falls short in this department is Reynolds. The character of Guy is fine the way he is, but Reynolds' line readings sound, well, just like they are. He just read the script in a microphone and got his paycheck. The mother character, who is voiced by Catherine Keener, feels a little bit wasted, as she never really has her big moment like most of the rest of the characters. There's a scene where you think she's actually going to be significant when she thanks Guy for helping them, but then the scene just kind of stops there. I feel the need to mention, once again, how incredible the animation is. From the settings to the distinguished animals and creatures they come across to frenetic scenes, most notably a very early scene where the family goes through a lot of life-endangering trouble just for a bird's egg. And it's all in surprisingly crystal clear 3D. It's quite impressive that a movie about cavemen could be so exciting, so funny, and so creative. I would imagine that wasn't an easy task from the start. Another thing that helps tremendously is at the heart of it all, there is sincere emotional core to this story. The only couple of problems I really had, but they were setting themselves up for a wonderful, heartfelt, bittersweet ending. But I guess they thought since this was mainly aimed at children, they couldn't afford to take that risk. So we still get another 15 minutes or so that lead us up to a much more upbeat ending, which I guess is okay. You don't traditionally go with your whole family to see an animated movie to get depressed. There's also a running joke with Belt, where when times get tough, he has an interpretation of dramatic music. I guess this was kind of funny the first time, but it wasn't really the last 3 times. I'm just glad I'm not one of those parents that's going to have to hear their kids doing it for the rest of the day after they leave the theater. Admission. Anyone who knows me knows that I am totally in love with Tina Fey. It's very likely that just her presence in something will make it a very nice experience for me. Well, almost. Despite what I just said, I never really had hope for admission. And the most baffling thing is just how much worse it managed to make itself, passing how bad it already looked. I mean, I struggle to even know where to begin talking about this movie. What the hell happened? What drugs were the creators of this on? Was this a comedy, or a drama, a romantic comedy, or a romantic drama? Whatever it is, it would give any of those genres a bad name. This plot involves Portia Nathan, an incredibly ugly name for the Radiant Fae, as an admissions officer for Princeton who rejects students almost as a force of habit. She tries to tell us that she doesn't take pleasure in rejecting people, despite the whole montage of kids practically begging her, to which she checks off the deny square with no remorse. Portia is so obviously another dimension's Liz Lemon, except she's more annoying, more unstable, and not funny. Yes, you read that correctly. More unstable than Liz Lemon. This woman is a complete disaster. She gets a call from John Pressman, which is Paul Rudd, a guy who is so perfect and so nice he actually kind of creeps me out. Before I could get over how much I hate this stupid generic romantic comedy name, John Pressman. What the hell, writers? He is telling Portia she should come down to his, I don't know, what the hell. Kind of looks like a farm that might also be an Amish community, that might also be a school, that might also be a boarding house. I can't really tell. Regardless, it is sure to cause turmoil to Portia's big city ways, or whatever. When she gets there, it turns out that John has a student he thinks might be Portia's long-lost son she had to give up at birth. Having just gone over it again, good God, did that plot suck. Dismissing the fact that 5 minutes in, this movie was making me tired, let's get past the minuscule things like character names and plot, and get what is so bad about this movie. Let's start with Michael Sheen. Everybody say, "Hi, Michael Sheen!" And I'll let you say it too. You might know him from his Oscar-quality work in movies like Frost Nixon or Beautiful Boy, as the pretentious Paul in Midnight in Paris or Twilight Underworld. Though Faye fans will remember him as Wesley Snipes, the unlucky fellow who Liz Lemon almost pity married. He's here because we know Faye is going to fall in love with Rudd's character for no reason, so she needs someone to dump in order to do that, or in this case, be dumped by. Now we know exactly where his character arc is going, and he is completely pointless. I might also point out the odd detail that Sheen's appearance in this movie has a striking resemblance to Tina's real-life husband. Now surely that's just coincidence, right? Right? Well, we then meet Jeremiah, for the love of God with these names, the supposed son. His character comes to an immediate punchline when we first meet him. He says he has to go when he isn't late for robotics class. I'm gonna assume that means that's where he picked up his personality and his acting lessons. His character never becomes interesting, or sympathetic, or even likable. And I don't mean to say he's unlikable, it's just how can you like a character that's just so bland and boring? And of course, comes the plot device where Faye and Rudd fall in love. Just like that. I'm guessing because he adopted a poor black kid. That's the way it works in romance in the movies. One sob story, and bang, you're in. And considering how much sex they've had by the end of it, I feel dirty when I look at the poster's seemingly innocent tagline, "Let someone in." Ugh. This movie is as confused by itself as we are as an audience. What were they going for here? You know, it's played off as a comedy, but it takes itself so deadly seriously. Given that none of it was funny, I couldn't tell where the comedy stopped and the drama began. It was so awkward and weird. Take the embarrassing scene where, to prove how much he loves his son, Rudd monologues before breaking a prized horse statue that he's had forever, and the kid seems to barely notice. And after the kid storms off, they have sex again, okay, sure. In the house with the kid in the other room, alright, that's fair. Right after he went in there, probably still awake, thinking about it now, trying to play it up so innocently their relationship is actually kind of sleazy. Doesn't help that, surprisingly, Faye and Rudd have zero chemistry. None in the slightest. The one silver lining is Oleg Krupa, as a guy that falls for Faye's mom. You might remember him as the head criminal in Home Alone 3, or the Russian that Brad Pitt and Frances McDormand tried to give the disc to and burn after reading. He brings a certain charm to his 5-minute-long role, and making him the only interesting character in this whole damn thing. And yeah, Faye's mom is Lily Tomlin, and they have such a weird, bizarre, and unhealthy relationship. I wasn't even going to bring it up. But just look at this whole movie. Unhealthy relationships are this woman's specialty. So my final thoughts on Admission? Approval denied. So that's AJ's Weekend Movie Reviews for this week. Join us tomorrow. We're going to be talking Celebrity Apprentice and who got fired this week and all the craziness that goes on leading up to it and surrounding it. And of course, Monday we're going to bring up Raw, and Tuesday we're going to talk Raw. Wednesday and Thursday still up in the air as usual. Friday we're going to talk TNA Impact. Saturday we're going to talk SmackDown. And Sunday is Easter, so who knows what's going to happen there. So that's the movie review for this week. Next week, join us for The Host, G.I. Joe, Spring Breakers, and soon in the near future, Temptation Confessions of a Marriage Counselor. So I'm going to get off here. I'm going to have some lunch before I have to go to work. And until tomorrow, that's all I got to say about that.